How are we all? How are we all? Happy Sunday. Hopefully now everything's working. I'm not gonna say good evening because I look every week I look back and it's just me saying starting off like that. So it's just gonna be happy Sunday. Nick, how's it going? Let me know you can hear me. Let me know that the signal's working. Hello, bro. Is it working? Are we? Can you hear me all? Can you hear me? Is everything okay in that sense? Volume working. Hi, Emma. How's it going? How are you? All coming on now. Hi, Pamela. Just let me know, bro. You can hear me. Yeah, I'm glad at least I can see your message. Hopefully, it's all working. You know what? You will never see my eyes look as clear, Nick. Like, look at those eyes. 5x5. Look at those eyes. Yeah, all good, great. Look at those eyes, right? Look at those eyes. Hi, Richard, how's it going? Hiya, Tracy, have you ever seen my eyes this colour? Okay? Ever? Has anyone ever seen my eyes like this colour? Not since the day I was born, okay? Good old chlorine. You're dead right there. You're dead right. I mean, I like to go away for a week. I like to go to the sun. I like to have some little lunches. I like to have some sangrias. Yeah, they're really blue because it's like as if they have me in rehab here, Tracy. It's like I've been in rehab. You know, I've been in prison. I've been in a Center Parcs prison, okay? Which I'll give you the lowdown on. But, yeah, like, I like to go to the sun. I like to sit in the sun. My wife hates the sun. My kids, they kind of like the sun. They like the swimming pool. You know what I mean? They like the pools and stuff like that. But we said we go to Center Parcs this week because it's new. It's opened up in Ireland and it's a full, like, it's in a full forest and it has this huge swimming pools and all this outdoor stuff, which I was hesitant about because in Ireland it lashes rain, particularly in October. Once it starts, it never stops. You know, that kind of thing. So, hi, Salas, how you doing? Good to see you on. Christian, welcome. Lots of people coming on now. I hope you can all hear me. Hiya, John, how's it going? That was very funny there earlier when you said about herself. Jackie Walpole, one of the greatest managers I ever worked for, Jackie Walpole. Hair and beauty. She has some head of hair, John. She has some head of hair. But I've been in this place, and I mean, the swimming pool is just, there's something going on. Hi, Daniel, you're on, middle of the night for you, but thanks for joining us. John, how's it going? How are you? Again, I can't believe how blue my eyes are. That's because of the lack of alcohol, the early nights, and you can't relax in the swimming pool because there's a wave machine that goes off every 10 minutes. So, I mean, if you have a 4-year-old, you're worried about them, you know. You're worried about them. And then there's a lazy river, which kind of goes around in a circle and it's got a strong current, so you have to get in there with them, that. And then there's all these flipping slides for 4-year-olds, and that's just the beginning. Then you go upstairs, there's like 4 or 5 like adult slides which obviously my 10-year-old and one of her mates. Hey Tracy, one of her mates came on. Hi Cosmos, how's it going? One of her mates came on. 4 a.m. there, Daniel. You're a diehard Wella man, I can see. You know, hopefully with a bit of toning and stuff we can help you tonight because I know you're changing over to Wella, so we're going to talk about toning and stuff like that. But so in the pool, you know, usually in a pool you get to chill out and put your earphones on and do a bit of work. You don't get a second in this place. You've got everything. There's pools, there's kids, there's waves, there's twisters, there's slides, so you literally don't get a minute. I'm never so happy to see the back of a swimming pool as I will be tomorrow with that pool. I've had enough of it now, to be honest with you. But it's been great crack. My family loved it. I would definitely come back. It's really good. It is challenging in the Irish weather. Good to see you, sorry, last week. No problem, bro. I saw you were out. Hi, Karen. How's it going? What about you? Karen? Hope you're okay. You'd love it here, Karen. It's outdoors and indoors, so it's in a big forest, Tracy. It's in this huge forest, and the first 3 days the weather was great, so we cycled everywhere. My favourite part of it was you've got to cycle around the whole place. You can't bring your car. You've got to park your car up, and you're not allowed to drive at all in it to protect all the kids on the bikes and everything like that. So you've got to cycle up and down. And when the weather's amazing, I mean, if the weather's good, cycling around it is just absolute beautiful. But if it's lashing out of the heavens, then it gets quite challenging. And I've had to pay. Yeah, no, you'd absolutely love it, car. I mean, it has a very, very, I mean, the oxygen level, and as you can see, look at me. I mean, look at my eyes. I mean, where I'd be in Spain, I'd be on the old sangria in the afternoon. I'd be having a couple of vodkas that night, boom, and that'd be all the time. Bloody hell. Are you wearing? No, see, this is the thing, Tracy. So they have a full, like, it's like a capsule. So the full indoor pool area, right, which has like 5 different slides, a main pool with a swimming pool, a lazy river, slides for 4 to 10 year olds, and then slides from 4 to 1 year olds, and then adult slides up the top and all that type of stuff. The whole thing is encapsulated in at 30 degrees. So you're sitting at what should be balmy, and you're sitting around isn't balmy because it's manic, because all the kids are up and down on slides and falling over. And there's an outdoor slide, you know. Yeah, Marta. Yeah, I've had great fun. I've certainly it's amazing. I mean, I met 4 clients, which was to be expected, I suppose. I met 4 clients, and there's been there's been a lot of you have a good filter. I wish I had. No, I've got the same light as I always have. I just have. It's like I've been to bed early. Throw those loves and likes at me. I've been to bed. Hiya, Liz. How's it going? So you're up early and you're doing all this stuff, and I'll show you the apartments later. The apartments are fab. It's really good. The great thing is, obviously, you don't have to go to the airport. Do you know what I mean? Hey, Kelly, how's it going? The great thing is, I'm Pete. What's it going? The great thing is you don't have to go to the airport to go away for a week. But do I miss my old Bobby Dazzler tan that I'd always have after a week's holidays? I really do. Yeah, I really do. But as my wife says, it's not good for me anyway. You know, it's not good. You know, it's way ahead of photo. I mean, I really like photo. It's way ahead of photo. I've actually never seen anything like it. You know, it's a bit like a posh prison, I suppose. You know what I mean? But if you like forestry, you like the outdoors, and you can handle a little bit of rain, I'd highly recommend. The restaurants have been terrific. That's the one thing. I said I had to bribe the family to go out to let me do this. So there's different restaurants, but we went to the Indian and the Italian, and the Indian was incredible. They've gone back to the Indian tonight. You know, hard to get it. You have to book ahead though. Hard to get on stuff. But yeah, really enjoyable. I would definitely come back. But whoa, it's busy. You know, it's busy. It's not sort of go to the pool and they just struggle around. There's wave machines and it's full, absolutely full on. Anyway, plenty of yous on for a Sunday. So we're going to start, I think, because it came up an awful lot on the page this week. I don't know if yous all noticed it, but there was so much different issues with people toning hair with not getting the results they were looking to get, and not circus camp. Yeah, you know, there's a bit of, do you know what my favourite thing was, to be honest with you guys? You know what my whole favourite thing was for the whole week was there's a pottery class where they had this sort of basic pottery, and then you painted the pottery into whatever you wanted to paint it in, and then you gave to them and they baked it all night. Now, it wasn't cheap. I mean, the pottery pieces were like 20 quid each, and if you've got 5 kids, that's €100, and I think it was €5 to €10 to do the class. It was 150 quid, boom, just like that, boom. But then I do travel with kids. I do travel with friends and kids, and you know, hi Luca, how's it going? I bring in friends, and sure, I'm one of those fools. I just have people everywhere, so. But in saying that, as expensive as it was, I really enjoyed doing the pottery with my kids. It was show us a pottery piece. Do you know what? Actually, I don't know where they are, Karen, but I will find you one. Okay, I will find, because we did a cup which I'm gonna bring into the salon. We did a cup which was really cool. We did 3 plates, we did a Ferrari, and we did a squirrel. Me and Caitlin did a squirrel, and Obviously, the minute we got home, Killian got the squirrel and threw it against the wall and smashed it. And there was tears for souvenirs. So, had to go back the next day. Caitlin and Gabe, my wife, and I think Aaron, they went off and they did 2 more plates to make up for the fact that we'd smashed that one. You know what I mean? But the squirrel for me was legend, because we did the squirrel. And I mean, squirrels are great. You can just paint them all brown and then you can do the pink afterwards in the nose, you know. But I was giving out about the price for it, you know. I was going, this is ridiculous. I mean, 20 quid to paint a bit of pottery, blah, 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 blah. But would I go back? Yes, I would. You know what I mean? And, you know, I often speak about price. What's the price of things? What's the price of something? Whatever you were willing to pay for last, you know? So they've set their prices at a certain level. It isn't cheap when you get here. It isn't too expensive though. The food is quite reasonable. Some of the other stuff on the side, hi and Eve, some of the other stuff on the side is quite pricey. But in saying that, yeah, I could have painted that pottery every day. I just really enjoyed it, you know. I really enjoyed some of that, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, so I would highly recommend it. But you're not going to get the old tan. Look at me, no tan. But what you will get is blue eyes, because you'll be swimming every day. Boom. And then off for dinner at night, and you'll be in the sleep, and they're up early and they're out running around, and you cycle everywhere. So it's pretty good like that. I should have told them I was going live to some 23,000 people today. I probably would have got a free holiday out of it. But you know that people think. People think what are influencers, and then usually the real people who are big, you know, are not the people you think. Anyway, yes, be able to join. I don't know how long. You're in the middle of cooking, are you? Lovely. I look refreshed. Yeah, well, I had a week off. You know, I really had a week off. So I haven't had a week off in 6 months. You know, I had days here and days there, but most of it I was gone, and most of it I was working. But I haven't had a week out of the salon, even though I was in contact every day because Fiona's on maternity leave. But Rob was there keeping an eye on the till and San, and everything went well. It was a quiet week in the salon. With this week when the kids are off Halloween is always a quiet week. So you're going in April, you'll enjoy it, Neve. You'll enjoy it. It's really good. You deserve the summer off. I really do. Yeah, you clarified your eyes. I you know what? I can't believe the colour of my eyes, you know. It started about 2 days ago. I woke up and I was like, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Hi, Shiv. I woke up and I was like, Mother of God, you know, the colour of my eyes. I was like, you know, I couldn't believe it, you know. But it's just been sleep in bed. And so there we go. Sorry, connective issues. That's okay, Jake. Traveling back from Mars. So you're back up for another weekend. You've been doing 7-day weeks, Daniel. Like I remember those days well. Now I do them online. No Grey Goose. Martha, I haven't had a Grey Goose since I got here because I just couldn't. I had a couple of glasses of wine at an Italian the other night, which was really enjoyable, I have to say. It was a really nice blush, Pinot blush. But I just haven't... you know, when you're in these kind of tight environments and I had 4 kids with me, it never seems the right time to have a gargle. You know, that way you never seem to have that privacy. So no, I probably have, but I might have one after here, because I always after the Sunday service feel like I need a drink to come down after talking to all you lot. So how are we all? How's everybody getting on? How was their week? And Karen, I'll find a cup later, and I'll also show you the accommodations, you know, and this is the basic sort of 3-bedroom one, you know what I mean? So they're not, I think there's a smaller apartment for people who don't have kids, but I think these they all seem to be the same. You're cracking, you're in good form. Later on, guys, when we finish here, Nick is going to do Nick Conn, you know, Nick, one of the he's basically my manager, you know, Nick. Nick's gonna do he's gonna do different dolly head haircuts and different colouring techniques, and he's gonna do them for the page. We're very, very lucky. So Nick is going to be doing these every couple of weeks, whenever he gets the time. So he's gonna drop a video tonight with a haircut and a balayage he done at home the other night, specifically for the page. And he's going to drop that the minute I'm finished on here. So basically I'm just basically opening the show for Nick, and he'll be then on live, so you can ask him questions about the haircut and ask him about the balayage and ask him about different stuff, and then ask him is there specific haircuts or stuff you'd like to do, because this is something he's been working on for a while, and I think it'll go down really well on the page, and so stay on afterwards. Stay on after I'm finished here. Nick will drop that video and he'll be able to run you through the haircut if there's something you're not sure about. And the standard of dolly heads these days, the standard stuff is and then if there's anything you want him to do, you know, there'll be obviously lots of stuff that we'll want him to do. We'll definitely want him to do one of the haircuts in a full evening dress. I mean, that'll be very, very important. I would like to see Nick in a full, like a Deb's dress, you know, just a really nice debutante dress, you know, nothing too sexy, just kind of, you know, slightly virgin like himself, you know what I mean? So we'll definitely have Nick to do the haircuts and different things, and a scuba outfit, of course, will obviously be will be definitely you know, something we'll be looking into. And of course, obviously, if there's certain haircuts you'd like to see or certain things with colours, I think this could open up and it could be a really good thing. And Uncle Nick, with a point on, Uncle, happy Sunday, Mary, Uncle Nick will do that for us. Okay, let's dive in, huh? Let's dive a pinny on. Yeah, pinny, he'll have his pinny on. I like that, Gary. He'll have his pinny on and nothing else. Pinny, G-string, that's it. Do you know what I mean? Geneva watching him, and I'll be like, who's this Nick guy, you know, from Canada? You know, because Geneva watches everything. You know, Nick, how it is. It's a big opportunity for you. I'd love to see you in Geneva. Anyway, let's get stuck in to a few different things. So toning, okay? Toning. Toning's been coming up on the page an awful lot. So, and most of you guys are just such experts at toning that you can nearly be here to help me explain toning, and to give your 20 cents worth to all the people watching this, because even though there's 30, 40, 50 people on live, there's about 4,500 to 5,000 people watching this every week, and most of them don't have the level of experience of the co-creators who are on the page with me tonight. So we have to think about them with toning. Every country, especially sometimes some mixed tones. Yes, absolutely. Hi, Chris. Congratulations again to the South African rugby team who played England off the park the other day. I'm sure anybody from England wouldn't mind me saying so. Their tactics was just incredibly... Yes, Nick, you're so true. Their tactics were absolute perfection. England couldn't play, and South Africa rolled through them, and I have to hand it to them. And I actually think it was great to see the South African team together. I think as a country, it's to see that inclusion on the pitch is so important for South Africa and for the world. And I have to say their captain spoke eloquently afterwards, and I was very impressed with him. And even though I'm not a rugby person, my hat's off to the, and I do love the South African people. They took me to their heart hiya Paul. They took me to my heart while I was in Casablanca. I sat with them every day. I love the Wella family in South Africa, and I'll be looking forward to visiting them and having a bit of fun with them, because they have a great sense of humour, you know, and they're great people. So like Nick said, you know, there's so many different types of toning, you know, and the most important thing with toning is that you get to the level of lift and to accept the level of lift that you get. You know, so many people will be on the page, you know, I'm looking for like a 10.81, and they only got a lift up to about a level 9, and so a 10.81 will wash straight off. That immediately, because it isn't light enough. So you must tone at the level you get. So if you got a level 9, like a 916 would deposit better for you than a 10.81, you know? Very, very, and then you have to think about the texture, the condition, and everything like that. But there's a huge difference between toning a bleach up, a full head bleach up, and toning a head of highlights. And this is where melts became such a huge part of our business, you know what I mean? Because people have been toning for years, you know what I mean? And they would do specific things, but the tones would be based on the level of the lift of the highlight. and therefore it wouldn't take the lines out of the highlights. Okay, did you get that? So we go through that kind of again. So if you're just toning a perfect head of highlights with a colour touch, with a perfect, a 916 or whatever it is, a perfect head of highlights, it will not take away the lines at the root. Okay, it will not. The only way that would happen is if you put a background colour in at the same time, which is a different technique, and actually we can probably go into that while we're here as well, because it's all part of the same type of thing. But let's just work on the basics of it here. So if you're looking down and you have a head of highlights and you tone that with a 916, when you go to blow dry it, you'll still see the lines of the highlights, unless you've balayaged or unless you've weaved. So for a lot of people who were doing balayage and stuff like that, they needed to get lift up at the root. They needed to have highlights up at the root, but they didn't want it to look like highlights. Okay? Yeah, they wanted to look like balayage. They wanted to look quite heavy, but they didn't want it to look like a head of highlights, the way heads of highlights looked, Do you know what I mean? For so long. So people started to melt. And what they did with that was they would take the head up out of using the right strength developer. Oh, listen, we've got a lot to go through here, Nick. So what a melt really, the idea of a melt was really to slightly darken the root and to blend the lines away. It became an extreme technique where people were doing very darker levels, like a level 5, a level 6, a level 7, through the root into a level 8, into a level 9. So it created a melted effect. Okay, so what they were doing was they were creating, they were diffusing the line at the root, and then they were creating movement and keeping the ends lighter from. So that when that look was blow dried, it didn't look like highlights. It looked like a blended technique. You know what I mean? And it worked really well. And this is where melts became so popular. But the blend is very tough, Martha. The blend is very tough, So, and you have to choose your melts wisely. You have to. I don't like heavy dark melts. But this is where the battle becomes real for a lot of people, because they then they are either trying to make the person's base colour look a little bit lighter to blend in with the highlights, and by doing that you're opening up the hair. The underlying pigment's going to come out and the hair's going to go brassy. That's just, if you're okay with a base break, if that's the way it's going to go, then that's fine. But that's what a lot of people are having problems with on the page, is that they're using a very high toner all the way through the hair and not doing a melt, not working on the levels in and around the root and working it outwards, and they're making big mistakes even with demis. Because if you put a 10-0 demi all the way through the hair, you're dead right there. If you put if your base is great, it's obviously you don't have to. But this is the same principle. So if you even had somebody who's very naturally blonde and they're really, really light, and you put like a 10-8-1 all the way through their hair for 10 minutes, it's going to shift their underlying base, because it's a 10. So that even with a low developer, it's really look whether it does or not. But if it's fine hair, it will disturb the underlying pigments most likely, because it's a 10 and it's going to draw a 7 towards being a 10. There's nothing we can stop or do about that can stop that. That's just the way of it. You know what I mean? So if those things are the concern, which it seems to be on the page, I've seen an awful lot of people this week, particularly toning highlights with permanent colour. So it really, if I see one more sort of on the floor, like I saw one then during the week, I toned this hair with 960 and 1069 alumina, and now her natural hair is orange. What will I do? What will I do? And you're like, what that has done is, because it's a permanent colour, it has, because it's so much lighter than the natural base, it's going to permanently disturb the underlying pigments and make that person's hair light, For me, I don't really use permanent colours to tone highlights. But when you're doing a bleach up, brilliant, absolutely amazing. And this is where people get mixed up. I mean, Spiela's from a country where people are very naturally blonde. And she will say to you, even in our country where we're very naturally blonde, the demis will disturb the underlying pigments of the natural blondes because they're so naturally blonde. Hiya Sarah, good to see you, babes. How are you? She will tell you that even that even in their it will disturb the underlying pigmentation because it's a level 10 and you're putting it on a level 7. Now it's going to tone all the bleached highlights in between, but will it disturb it? On fine hair, I'm afraid maybe. There's no guarantee. So the better approach, and the approach you would be better to take, is to think about it in a melt form. And so if somebody's about a 7 or an 8, then maybe lift them up and do a 7 or an 8 at the root, and then tone them out into a 9 or a 10. So you could do like 797, colour touch. Yeah, I don't use permanents, but there's an awful lot of people on the page who do use permanents, who love to use permanents. So we're trying to find solutions for them because but let's just say, so if you're worried about disturbing the underlying pigments, maybe lift them up, put them back in the chair, use a post to bring the pH back down, which is what people don't do. Yeah, the 9.7s are still having a huge moment, Martin, no doubt about that. Tuning into my first live, well, congratulations, welcome. Sorry about the lights being a bit mental because I'm actually away from home and I'm on holidays. So hiya Soph, best of luck tonight. I know I'm away on holidays and it looks like I'm being interviewed for a murder I committed. But there you go, we'll make it work. But if you're looking at somebody and she's a base 7 and you've done a beautiful head of highlights and you're worried about disturbing the pigment, be it a demi or be it a permanent, I would always say demi. Definitely service post first, and then if you keep the root in around a 7, so let's say we do a 797 and then we mix 881 and 1081 and we do 797 into basically a 981, you will get the cleanest perfect head of highlights. You'll just break the line at the root. And it'll look amazing and it won't disturb the pigment, because you have to understand, if you put a 10 on wet hair, there's a chance it'll disturb the pigment. Now, if you're toning with permanents and you put a 10 on a 7, it will 100% disturb the pigment. 100% disturb the pigment, and 100%... Father Dunn from the Forest, you like it? Yeah, this is the back thing. Hi Ollie, how's it going? Ollie's doing these amazing education this year, so we're going to highlight him on the page and we're going to try and get him booked out forever. So anybody who's on around the world, check out that handsome man Ollie. He's going to be doing fantastic education, and the great thing about Ollie is you get Sassoon haircutting and you get the Wella colouring, so you have 2 for the price of 1. You can squeeze him till he can't walk. Squeeze him. Get him for the haircuts in the morning, get him for the colour in the afternoon, tie him up, keep him there for 3 days. Do you know what I mean? But there's very few educators who have a Sassoon haircutting background and a full Wella background, and Ollie's one of them, and he's a lovely fella. So get him to your salon very soon, and he likes to wear tight clothes, so obviously he's handsome. So you have a lot there to work with. Do you know what I mean? So get him. Hiya Luce, how's it going? Get him to your salon, because you'll be able to get, just the way Sassoon people hold the scissors and the way they hold a scissors and a haircut is a joy to watch, an absolute joy to watch. So, and I know he's dying with a hangover. I saw him earlier looking for a Mackie D's, so he's dying with a hangover. So you probably won't get much out of him tonight. Rachel, how's it going? How are you? Great to see you, babes. Still knocking out beautiful work. So if you're really concerned about disturbing the underlying pigment and you don't mind seeing a little few lines, because you can't do highlights and not see that if you want to do them to the root, and you really want, well, then go for relights, okay? Because relights is pH acidic and it will just tone. It's pure tone. It has no depth in it. Are you recovering? Yeah. It'll just tone, it has no depth in it, and it'll just clean out your highlights and give you a lovely clean result. But I would recommend looking at the way people are approaching melts and look at approaching it that way. And obviously to tone with a demi and to prepare the hair properly with Service Post and the new Colour Lock spray. You can't go wrong. Squeeze, Ollie. Yes, squeeze that lemon. You know what I mean? Work them. I've had to do gigs. You know what I mean? I've had to do gigs where they worked me to death. People think education is easy. It isn't easy at all. You're standing in front of a crowd. You can feel their breath breathing against you Monday morning, and they're on their day off. And you're standing there and they're saying, "Wow me. You better wow me, because I'm in here on my day off. Me boss is paying for this. I didn't pay for you. I don't know who you are. So if you don't wow me, I'm going to kill you because this is my day off." And you can feel on their breath. And if you don't wow them by 10 o'clock, you'll be lucky to come back after lunch. You know what I mean? So, but Ollie has the ability to wow you. You know what I mean? Eyeballing you, like straight up at you going, you know what I mean? No messing. I'm here on my day off. I had to get up out of the bed to see you. So if you come in here with just telling me about, landscaping and the side of walls and, what's trendy this week, I'm going to kill you, So, no pressure. So, work 'em. That's all I'll say. Work 'em. Get them up there. Ollie, we'll have you booked out for the year, babes. We'll have you booked out for the year. Facebook Live, everything. We'll have you booked out for the year. You better start picking your Elvis outfits, actually, first, And the same for you, Nick. I want to see you doing this. Ollie, Nick's doing mannequin heads now live, and he's going to be doing videos and stuff like that, but we have to make sure that he's dressed appropriately. In other words, something that makes us very happy. So think of outfits there for him, okay? Yeah, don't let me down. So if you're toning and you're really concerned about disturbing the underlying pigmentation, I would look at relights. Okay, relights, stroke 86, relights, stroke 18. I know a lot of you guys know all about this, but it's very important for the people watching this video during the week that they know about it, and they don't seem to know about relights enough. So we need to probably bring that forward and talk to me. I'll dress up as a cat. You'll dress up at what? We'll do a poll on what you dress up as, Nick. You don't get to choose, I'm afraid. This is a democracy here. You don't get to choose. You might get a little. You might get a little opportunity on the poll to say, well, I won't wear that. But we'll see. We'll see them. I love 86 and 18 mixed together, But if you are concerned about disturbing the underlying pigments, or if you have disturbed somebody's underlying pigments and it's gone a bit brassy on you and you want to just get rid of the warmth, but you don't want to darken the depth, i.e. a base break. Sometimes you do a beautiful base break and they come back and it's a little bit warm. Say after 6 or 8 weeks, it's just going to be, that's the game. That's the game. Nick in a leprechaun suit. Now you're talking, now you're talking. Nick is dressed as a full-on chicken. Well, definitely works for me. The whole with the beak, the whole. Geneva will love him. Geneva will love that, Trust me, I know. And trust me, they love me, so they'll love you. Okay. So this is gas tonight, you are so funny. Hiya, Michael, how's it going? So if you do have somebody and you break the base, okay, you break their base and they come back 6 or 8 weeks later and you just want to nullify the warmth, but you don't want to darken it in any way, shape or form. They actually like the little bit of lift they give it. They just don't like the underlying pigment. 18 is amazing on because it just beiges it out, so it gives you like a beautiful beige tone. So if you've used a base break, say 9-1, 9-8, 9-1 or 9-8-1 or any of the favourites in it, and they've come back and it's gone that little bit warm just from shampooing and from life, bam bam bam, stroke 18, if you just put that on the root, it'll just take the warmth out of it and beige it out, and it looks pretty amazing. But no, in all seriousness now, guys, Nick, if there is a haircut you'd like to see and Nick can help you, don't be afraid to contact him. Hiya, Gary, how's it going? Don't be afraid to contact him. Nick Khan, the Wella mascot dressed up as a cat. Yeah, Kelly, I quite like that one. The cat one seems to be hanging in there, the cat one seems to be hanging in there. Okay. So for me, I think the way people need to approach toning if they're really, really concerned is to look at it from a melt point of view and to use something a little bit deeper in level in around the root area and then work their way out. There's loads of things on the pages to do this. How do you get the Ren's Blutes? 3 months later. 3 months later, you don't, Martha. See, 3 months later, you need to thanks, Pauline. Good to see you on. 3 months later, you need to be doing a fresh head of highlights again. You know, this is the thing. I think personally, a lot of people like to do a base break in between the highlights, and they sort of drag out the base break for a couple of months, and then they just end up with this sort of brassy mess. You know. Wella kitties. I quite like that, Ollie. I could see both of you guys dressed as bunnies, you know. I'm going to work on that one. I need to, I'm on the image now, I can't get it out of my head. I can't stop seeing you, Ollie, with a little sort of furry thing on your bum and Nick behind you with the ears. It's disturbing image. Yet, I can work with it, but disturbing. So I do think that people need to maybe look at approaching toning with a little bit more seriousness. A sort of Playboy bunny, but sort of hairier. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's all a bit strange. You know, I haven't had enough alcohol this week. I'm not a base breaker, but it's a bitch to getting it light enough. See, Marty, you know, if you're dealing with a dark base, right, at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to get a dark base that isn't brassy is bleach, okay? So if you get a lovely head, it's a great question as well, Marta. You're top girl for the questions. So if you can plot the shape, well, you see the one I put up earlier. If you can plot your highlights really well and then do a melt around them, that will give you're getting your lift from your bleach, and then your toning is creating your colour, you know, and that will give you the effect you're looking for. The 797s, 881, you know, all those type of things, they're just lovely for softening out a root, and then you can go straight into like 1081, 881, 916, 901, 936, you know, 903 with a little bit of 936, 903 and 034, 973, 997. I mean, have I hit them all there? 996. There's so much that you can tone with, you know. But if you were to put a 9 or a 10 on somebody's root who's a 6 or a 7, could it lighten it? Yes, it could. It's a chemical, you know, and depending on how hot their scalp is, depending on what type of underlying pigment they have, depending on how fine their hair is, I mean, a demi could lighten for sure. Absolutely 100%. It's, you know, anyone on this thread will tell you that, you know. So, but a permanent will 100% lighten it. So the permanents are amazing for full head bleaches, you know. They're amazing for toning after full head bleaches. I still like to tone with colour touch because that's just who I am, but I'm not putting it down. 1081 is you know. But if you want to create dimension in a dark person, in a dark base, you need to do it with bleach, okay? You need to do it with bleach. There is a series, like now, like, with Wella, hiya Kevin, how are you, bro? With the amount of 9s now, I have to try and find a new place to put them, because we have 996, 997, 973, 901, 916, 903, 936. Then you're into the 8s. I mean, you're 871 and 901. There's so much to tone with, you know. But you do have to think about that, you know, if somebody's hair is wet and if it's pH properly and if you melt it out from the root, you'll never have a problem. But if you're putting a 10 through the whole of a person's hair and leaving it on for 10 or 15 minutes, there's a good chance that 10 will pull the natural base worm. And we're seeing that on the page. It does not wear like Wella, you know, for just like a 996. You've never seen anybody. You'll never see another company has like a pastel violet. I mean, it's just like, you know, you never see. But the prep is so important, you know. It's understanding that you want to bring the pH back down, and that's closing the hair, and then you want to even out the porosity all the way through the hair. So I think the days of throwing a toner on at the basins wet and rubbing it through for a few minutes. Now, emulsifying with a background, that's a different thing. That works really well. But for proper toning, for proper toning, I think you have to see it as something that you should be doing in the section, and you should be doing it properly. Service post, pH, spray, do a slightly darker one around at the root area, and then move on out. Yeah, I love the colour motions ones as well. I love the scalp protect. I mean, it's another thing. I don't see people buying the scalp protectant. You're gonna get sensitivities. We had a post on that this morning. Like people are like in the restaurant I was in last night. The waitress had to ask anybody any allergies to gluten, any allergies to peanuts, she had this big thing that she had to, in case something happened. You know what I mean? And it's no different with hair colour. It's no different with anything. As the bodies get older and they change, people build up sensitivities. People build up allergies. People get allergic to stuff. They get allergic to medications. They get allergic to getting up out of bed early. They get allergic to everything. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to happen with hair colour. So you need to have as much things as you can prepared for yourself. And as Pamela said this morning, a fully qualified trichologist who does understand that diagnosis is way better than opinion. That, if it looks like it's flaring up and it's a huge histamine issue, then that you just have to withdraw that type of colouring and do something different. But there is scalp protect. There is all these things that you can do, that can really, 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 really help, So I think I think people need to think about toning in a completely new way. They need to, and they don't have to think about it as melting. You don't have to do like a really dark base, like a 5 into a 7 into a 9. You can just do, if somebody's around a base 5 or 6, you can tone them with a 7 at the root, and it's not going to disturb it because you've pH'd it properly, you've done it all right. It's not, it's not going to, and it'll just break your line a little bit, and then go out and tone into what you want to tone out into 916. I prefer it on damp dry hair, and I prefer it in the section. And the blending looks amazing, and clients will get into it, and you can charge more because your approach to colour is the way it should be. You're doing your beautiful technique, you're doing your beautiful highlights, you're bringing back to the section, you're using all these products. Nobody else is probably going to do that on your street. You're explaining to them that you're melting it out, and you're breaking the lines, and that you're using different tones, and that you're using different products, and then you charge them more, and they'll expect it. People are not stupid, they understand. And they go to the girl down the street and she rubs something through their hair for 2 minutes and tells them it's toned, or a bit of a blue shampoo. They'll be back in your seat in no time. So it's always better to be. It's always better to be. I use Scalp Protect all the time. I've always used Scalp Protect. I always have clients who've tingly scalps, or who are not feeling well, or are on medication. I've got young clients and old clients. I've got, need help making it as seamless as you all do. Okay, well, we'll do a bit more about melts then. Okay, I've done a great couple of ones on every time I teach, I do stuff on melts. But I charge I just charge a certain price, and that's what I charge, and I charge quite a lot, and I find that's the way, But I do think a melt probably should be in around the same price as a demi. You know what I mean? And if you're toning like that, and you're toning really properly, it's going to last for months. If you go into 797 tone and you leave that on for the full 20 minutes, that's gonna last till nearly she comes back the next time. If you're putting like a 12 quid tube of colour, or like whatever amount of it at the back of a basin for 3 minutes on her hair till you think it looks good, and then you're rinsing her, it's a waste of colour, it's a waste of product, and it's a waste of time. Okay, and it won't last. It'll last 2 shampoos for every second. Every minute is a week. That's what it is. Every minute is a week maximum. So you need to be looking at toning properly for the right amount of time, and these are the differences that will separate you into making you a Michelin hair colorist, and not just a round the corner hair colorist. They will never do all these preparations. And clients, I call them a signature toner, and charge nearly the same as a demi. Perfect, Karen. Love it. Signature toner. I talk all about the different tones and the different depths and breaking the line at the root. They totally get it. They never ask the price of anything. Clients rarely get head up about this type of stuff. We're the ones that have the huge issues. We're more concerned about their love and approval and them liking us than we are about actually charging them what we should be charging them and being completely professional hairdressers and really talking about their hair, their face shape and their skin tone and their eye colour and their bone structure and their face shape and what they want to achieve, instead of talking to them about where they're going out on a Saturday night and have they seen the latest box set, and have they, that if you engage a client properly about everything that really matters to do with her, and it's all about her look, her work, her colour, she will pay anything, because you're giving her confidence in her look, you're making her believe in herself, you're making her, you're ticking all the boxes, of and as Ollie said, trust the process, but prepare the hair properly. And that's where the new colour spray and where the service posts come in, is that you can prepare the hair properly and do it elegantly and properly. I tend not to use 3 toners. A lot of them, they use like a 7 to a 9 to a 10, unless it's on really long hair. Unless it's on really long hair. It's all about how you sell it, Kelly, Unless it's on really long hair, I just tend to use 2s. I'll go from a 7 to a 910, so it'll be a 916, 1081 or 916 and 106. And I love 916 and 106. And then on the route, 881 is one of my favourites. 797 is one of my favourites. I tend to try and keep the route ones similar, because you want to know that you're going to get the result. And 797, 881, they're probably my favourites right now. And then I'd use like 80 and 996, so hi Nina, how's it going? Overlay. I whatever you need to use. I use the word melt. I don't use the word toner. I don't use the word. But prep the hair properly. Talk about the hair. Talk about what you're doing, why you're doing it. All that type of stuff, and then clients will have no issue paying. Okay, trust me. That's all right, Charlie. I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to you later. So, really that we have to look at melting and toning as a full service in itself, and to get it right. Because if you get the lift right, particularly this is particularly aimed at the highlighting. Okay, in a full head bleach, you've got to tone at the level you get. It's a different thing. But I'm seeing on the page, I'm seeing on the communities, an awful lot of people are toning badly, bad choices of colour, wrong level, leaving it on for the wrong length of time, using permanent colours, putting them on all over a natural hair, all this type of stuff. So I do think we need to approach toning from a different way. I would advise thinking about doing it like a melt, and just using a slightly darker one in at the root and working your way out, unless they just want clean highlights all the way through, and you don't mind that. It's okay, love. That's okay. You can catch it later. If they just want that, well then Relights is your go-to. Relights is just right there. Stroke 86, stroke 18. That will just tone your highlights perfectly, close down the surface because it's acidic, boom, and you can it's perfect. If you want that just clean, and it doesn't disturb the underlying pigments. But you know what, brilliant technique. I do a lot of back home weaves, a lot of back home balayage, and I don't need to tone it at all, particularly if I'm working it from this level down. As long as you break the line properly, if your technique is perfect, you made it, Michelle, well done, you made it. Unless, if you're able to do your techniques. Yeah, those lovely blondes. Sandra's back again, is she? All right, Sandra. So yeah, I have seen some really scary toners. Just, People who don't understand that it's a permanent colour, high ammonia, it's going to disturb the underlying pigment and open it up. And obviously if it's a 10 and it's a 7, it's going to draw a 7 towards a 10, even if it's a demi. So you have to be aware, can open it up. Where if you were to do it like a blend and have a slightly darker one at the root and work your way out, it would be perfection. I'm not telling you to do it, but this is where hairdressing is going. This is what we're all doing. This is what I'm doing in my shop. This is what half the people on here are doing. So I would advise you to start looking at doing that, because there will become a separation between the approach in work at a high level, which is this, and the approach in work, which is just like bang it on at the basins for a couple of minutes and rinse it off, a bit of silver shampoo, and and sure, off we go. That there will be a huge difference. It's like going to an amazing restaurant or going to a fast food outlet. That there will become a huge difference. So you decide which one you want to work in. It's not which one you want to eat in, because you're not the customer, they are. They decide that. You decide which one you want to work in and what you want to live in. Yeah, Pamela would kill you as well. Yeah, she would. How you doing, Matthew? How's it going? Okay, great. So I think that clears up a lot of things about the toning. Yeah. And this is something I was thinking about all week, and it's also something a friend mentioned it to me, and I've been thinking about it all week, and because it fascinates me as a subject, but it's to do with routines. Now, I love routines, and this is the thing that when are routines like really, really sort of really good for you, and when are they really not good for you? You know what I mean? Because I can be drawn into, do people really use Sweet and Low? Well, there's no need to, because you have scalp protect lotions out there that really work. Wella have one in Nioxin, they have one in Colour Motion, so there's no need. There's no need, but routines fascinate me, So certainly when I won international trend vision, from when I entered, the Irish, and then went to the English, and then went on to the Worlds, I felt all the way through that it was really important that I kept my routine really, really, really good, so that all I thought about was my entrant, and all I thought about was the hair. So the 25% of me was just dealing with what I was doing in the world, and 75% was working on my look. And just that one little thing can win you a big competition, So, and it's the same, I think, for anybody in the professional game, that you want, hiya Julie, that when you're in the professional game, you want things to be as smooth as possible. Yes, do not use Sweet and Low. We have Colour Motion Scalp Protect. We have Nioxin Colour Lotion. There's loads of them out there. There's great professional products these days. There's no need to come up with something from the 1970s, that was a bit mental then and is a bit mental now. No need, okay? No need at all, okay? There's great products out there. They're made by fantastic scientists who are actually on this thread tonight, because John and Cuff and amazing people. So there's no need, guys, there's no need. But, if you're in a certain situation that you are, vying for a top competition, or that you're in that position, then routines are so, so important. Because, it's important that your flight is at the right time, and that you arrive at a hotel, that the hotel, you're not thinking about anything other than the show you're going to do or the competition you're going to do. That it's really important that really all those things are just taken care of, so you can concentrate on your platform, or your education that day, or your trend vision win, whatever it is. That routine is really important, so that it frees up your mind to think about what you're about to do, which is your education day or your trend vision win, or anything like that. This is where routine comes into its own, and this is how important it actually is. But, and a friend pointed this out to me, and I had to think about it all week, and I kind of then thought, I think I share it here. And it's a really, really good point that a friend of mine, Jesse, said to me. Is that if in your real world, in your normal everyday way of living, if you have so the best thing to do is to get a piece of paper. This is what I did, and I get a piece of paper and you work out your routine every day. So you think to yourself, right, my house is A, and then I go to work, that's B, and then I go to lunch, that's C, if you leave the salon. I don't. And then I go back to A, and then on another day off I go to visit a friend, which is D, and then I go to the gym, which is E, and sometimes we go out to eat in the same bed, which is F, and this is G. And then if you do that for a week, you can discover that your whole life is just the same sort of routine. And when in this type of life, when you do this all the time, your brain kind of switches off, because you're just doing automatically what you do. And when you're doing a hair competition, your brain is completely, or you're doing education day, your brain is completely switched on. So your synapses are just kicking left, right and centre because you're about to do a show. So your brain is fully engaged and you're fully focused on being successful. So your brain is working overtime. But in your normal everyday, when you're living like this, most of your brain is shut down. So you're just sort of working with a very, you're working about 25% of your brain, and the rest of it is just sort of switched off because you're going from A to B, B to C, C to D, D to F. You don't have to think about it. This is actually really bad for you. This is really bad for you because you stop using your full brain. You stop even using your full body capacities. You stop, in every way. You just go into, like, I don't want to say a zombie, but you just go into, get to the bus stop, get the same bus, come home, get all this, and it stops you from using other parts of your brain. But if you're aware of it, which I kind of am now, I did this a few weeks ago, so I've been doing this. I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 weeks because I would never talk to you about something that I haven't done myself. I would always test it out to see if it's makes sense. So I've been testing this one out because I've been talking to you about going for walks and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can't change your routines, because they're part of your life. But how can you engage your brain so that, because this will protect you from Alzheimer's, it protects you from, when you're older, from your brain, because it's atrophied. If you're not using your brain, it will just stop working. If you don't use it, you lose it. As we all know. And we don't even think about stuff because we're just going here, going there, we're like robots, okay? And that part of our brain is switched off. See the difference here between when you need a routine, which is when you're doing big days, and when you don't, when you need to look at your routines. So what I started to do was, in my routines, I started to do things differently, which is what my mate Jesse said to me. He said, it's really bad for you. You need to change. So I started to walk certain days of the week. It's just for you. It's so important for your body and it's so important for your brain. So I started to walk certain days. Now I'm a killer for routines. Marty, you don't have Alzheimer's yet. Nobody can hit the loves like you, babes. Nobody can hit the loves. I'd be lost without you here. You're fully supportive. You're right up the front, giving me the, But I think this is important because I actually from being off this week, I really noticed it because I started to because I'm in a new place, so I'm getting new experiences every day. So my brain is switched on. My brain's going, where's the swimming pool? What time does it open at? Where does it? So my brain is switched on all the time. But when you go back into your routine of work, gym, friends, TV, box set, dinner, bed, work, parts of your brain are not even being disturbed for a whole week, and that's not good for you. So what I've been doing, because you have to go to work, you have to do different things, is that I've been going I've been going to different bus stops. I've been walking to buses. Sometimes I've been driving down to the bus stop, parking a car in a different place. I've been leaving at different times. I've been just engaging my brain, and it has worked because I found myself looking at buildings. I found myself just switching on. When you first went away as a kid, when you first, so your first big trip to, I don't know where, I'm Irish, so your first trip to London and you were in the airport and you were looking for the gates and you were looking to get your tickets. You were so switched on. It was like a cutting edge experience for you. You know, it was a cutting edge, and your brain was just shooting because you were so excited because it was this kind of thing. That I found that my brain was switching back on, not to that level, but just that way. So I think this is kind of important, and it's something that we had that I'm certainly have looked at. That I'd love to go skydiving. Yeah, you're most definitely Irish. I would love to go skydiving. Well, just this week we did something completely different this week, you know, so therefore my brain's been switched on all week. But I do notice that as much as I love routines, and I love my routine, they're not really good for my mind, and they're not really good for my body. You know, they're not really good all the way through. So that if you just try to do things differently every day, or you're just aware of your routine, you know, just park somewhere different, walk somewhere different, do something different, leave at a different time, go somewhere for a coffee in a different place, read a different book, do something. This is why I'm so anxious. I follow routine every day. See, this is it, Lucy, because then that part of your brain is switched off as well. And it does create, because that brain is switched off and then you try to switch it back on, it does create anxiety, because you do see it. You do. I saw it a lot in the swimming pool this week. People were in somewhere new and everything was new, wave machines and rides, and people are afraid of their life because it's out of their routine and they're not able to switch on that quickly, you know, because their brains have just been like 50% of their brain they're never using. They're just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. And nature's a big part of it, Martha. They're going to work, they're coming home, and they're not. And then they find themselves in a situation like that, and they get overwhelmed really quickly. Where if you just literally start to do things differently every day, just in a different way, have lunch at a different time, you know, and you do things, and they're not as scary then. You know, they're just not. They're not as scary as doing something really big, and then you don't get overwhelmed. Where if you do the little stuff, you build up that resistance, Lucy. So it will really help you in the long run. Martha, I did it after 2 weeks ago, after you said it to me, and I what I did was I stood on the grass and I looked up to the sky, and I did feel it grounded me. So I meant to say it to you. I actually did it. It was a bit, and I was laughing thinking of you. I actually went out and I stood on the grass, and I just looked up to the sky, and I did feel like it earthed me. But I'm quite a grounded person. Yeah, you can break that by just doing different things every day, Lucy. By doing different things every day and breaking your routine, your brain will switch on, and it'll become accustomed to working all the time. And the more your brain is used to working all the time, the better it'll be, you know, the better it'll be. This is a bigger part of other things that I was talking to one of my mates about. Walking is walking really helps. I mean, driving is like, you can drive somewhere and then you can park and you can walk across the street. You can go to a different car park. You can just park in a different area and walk somewhere different. It just makes your brain go, oh, this is different, and it switches itself on. And by switching itself on, you're protecting your brain, because it's like using a muscle. You know what I mean? It's really good. It makes your brain go, oh, okay, I've got to switch on, because it'll just close down, and eventually it'll close down so much so that you can't even change the channel, you know. So I don't even know if it's like it's comfort zones. It's just being open to seeing how routines and how important they are when you've got a big event on, and how dangerous they are in your day-to-day life, from switching off parts of your brain that don't ever come back on. And I mean, they talk about this, you know, people who win the lotto, you know, people who win the lotto, and sort of 3 years later, after winning the lotto, they all fall apart in them. And the reason is because they've stopped dreaming. Their brains, they've stopped dreaming and creating something new in their lives, you know. And they start to think, well, I've won the lotto, I don't have to work, and I don't have to do this, and I don't have to do that, and their brain just switches off, and then it all sabotages, or it all falls apart. So it's really important that whatever your dreams are, to always have new ones. and to be never afraid of dreaming big, because the bigger your dreams, the better it is, but the obstacle course today really got my cogs going. Yes, yeah, anything like that, it's really good for your head, because if your brain will just automatically want you to get into routine, so it can switch off that part of your brain. But it's a bit like your brain will tell you not to go to the gym because or your body will, because it doesn't want you to exercise, because it doesn't want you to get fit. Which, like, it's the same part of it. It just because that part of your brain's telling you that, it doesn't mean it's right. It's absolutely 100% wrong. And that's another thing I've been looking at. This a lot of the unconscious stuff that we look and we think is real, it's actually completely the opposite, and it's really not good for us at all. And this is one of these types of things. Just take it easy and sit on the couch, and then eventually you can't get up off the couch. So it's very, very important to use routines when you're really busy, or you've got a big show coming up, so that you can just concentrate your whole mind. We don't want to listen to that part of your brain. Concentrate your whole mind on winning a competition, or your whole mind on doing a show. It's a whole different thing. You need to be protected, so you can use all your energy, so that when you hit the floor, even for me on a Sunday when I'm coming to you guys, I take it easy because I know I'm going live later. So so you sort of you'll keep your routine a certain way so that you have your energy level. But once that's over, that's not the way to live. That is definitely not the way to live. And as I say, I've been road testing this one for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I actually think there's real strong substance in it. And a lot of the stuff in life that we need to do are just really simple things. And if we do loads of simple things together, we can lead really quite successful lives. But that to make sure that I talked to Karen about that, to make sure that you're constantly have dreams that are bigger than reality, but really appreciate what you have right now, because this came up again, and this comes up an awful lot, and some great stuff has happened for me, and I found that the best stuff that happens for me happens when I'm quite content in myself. That I'm not reaching. If you're not reaching for a big job, or you're not reaching for that, if you're really content and you feel that you're really comfortable and happy in yourself, you do tend to, in my experience, you do tend to attract the next best thing into your life, because you're actually sort of attracting it to you, because you're quite happy in yourself. You notice that about certain people, they just seem to flow through life. And reinvention is a huge part of it. Every 7 years, I think, John, reinvention is you're welcome, Martha, you're welcome. Reinvention is a huge part of it. But that when you have a deep appreciation for what you have today, at some stage in your life, this was a dream. If you look back at a picture of yourself when you were an 8-year-old kid, and if you asked that kid a question, he'd say, I'd love to have somebody who loved me, or I'd love to have a family, I'd love to own a house, I'd love to maybe have a car, I'd love to have a job, I'd love to make money, I'd love to be, able to live on my own. And for most of you people on this page, you've achieved all those dreams, even though you don't see them as dreams anymore. But at a certain age in your life, it was a dream to have a car, and then you fulfilled that dream. It was a dream to maybe, to get a house, and then, you did that. It was a dream to have a job and to be successful, and it was a dream to get a pay packet. And then you got a pay packet. It was amazing stuff. And the thing is, people stop dreaming. They stop dreaming, and that's bad for the old noggin as well. They stop dreaming, and then they stop appreciating what they have. They stop appreciating that what they have is wonderful, and that they created it. So Lucy, there you are. You have your own little salon, right? You have your own little salon. So if you sat down and you thought, like, I all I ever wanted was to have my own little salon room, and now I have it, and you have a huge, deep appreciation for what you have, Lucy, like an absolute, in your soul, appreciation for what you've created, the next best thing will come to you, because you're attracting it. But if you're sitting down going, I wish I had a salon on Bond Street, or I wish I had this, you won't ever have a salon on Bond Street, because you sit down and you might never need one. You know what I mean? So to have the understanding that the dreams you once had are what you're living today, and that you need now to dream what your next dreams, but be deeply appreciative for what you have. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's a nice meal, if it's the ability to be able to cook a meal, to switch a light on, for someone to pay you, to be able to cut hair, to be able to colour hair, to be able to put a picture up online, to just have a deep appreciation for what you have. Now, certain people will not get that, and they will not get you, and that's okay. That there's nothing wrong with that. But life will get you, and you will find opportunities and things will arrive, and you'll be able to just grasp them. And you want, instead of looking out the dream, be so appreciative of the life. Like, just the fact that we are online here with phones, these amazing phones, that I'm able to come and to talk to you guys here. And there's people on this thread. There's a guy on from Guam, there's people on from Thailand, there's people on from America, there's people on from America, all around the world. They're able to buy this little device, and they're able to connect to me here in a forest in Longford, and we're able to talk about how goddamn lucky we are. How goddamn lucky we are to have clothes on our back, to have food, and it's not like, I don't want it. This is another thing that people get so wrong. It's like, I don't want to ask for any more. I have enough already. I should be grateful for just what I have. That's not it at all. It's the opposite. You should be dreaming about owning Wella, but at the same time have a deep appreciation for what you have right now. You know what I mean? That's a completely different mindset, and that's the mindset that I think I would really, really recommend to try, and it's something that I work on, and it really makes a huge difference to my life. Because I turn down probably more. I get so many opportunities that I turn down because they're just not right for me in the right time in my life. But these opportunities come because I'd have a deep appreciation for what I have, but I also, dream about wanting more. But when I'm going into that dream, I'm dreaming from a place of not completeness, but I'm dreaming of a place of appreciation, so I'm not looking at what I have today going, this isn't good enough for me, this is where I'm on all this. And just to be healthy, I had a dream the other night that I was very, very sick, but I'm not very sick. I had a dream the other night that I was smoking, and I haven't smoked in 11 years, So, yeah, Marty, you're on from America. I haven't smoked in 11 years. Part of my subconscious still thinks I smoke, but I don't. My conscious brain, I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker, so I wouldn't want to be listening to my unconscious brain that would tell me to get up on the roof, and to tell me that I'm not good enough, or tell me that I'm too far, or tell me that I'm this, or tell me that I'm that. My unconscious brain still thinks I can smoke. I had a dream the other night, and I was like in the dream smoking, and I was like drawing on a fag. I was like, I'll never smoke again. I'll never smoke again. There's no part of me consciously that will ever smoke again. So whatever's going on back there is an old thought pattern that has no part of my life. Do you know what I mean? So to have that deep appreciation for our health and for who we are, and to not be afraid to ask for more, and to not be afraid to dream big, to dream really big, because as they've proved, for people who win the lottery, they tend to fall apart. You know why? They stop dreaming. So dream really big, and dream from a place of appreciation. Whatever you have, appreciate it, because it was a dream of a part of you many years ago. The dream to live in a foreign country where the sun shines and you get to look at blue skies, or the dream to own your own house, or the dream to have a car, or the dream to be able to just have 3 kids and bring them away like I have, to bring them on holidays here, and to have a whole week, and to watch them going up and down the slides and the stuff, and to have such a huge appreciation, instead of getting a head up in your head going, because I have all that in my mind. I'm looking at other people at the pool going, wish I was as slim as him, wish I had a washboard stomach like that, wish I was tall, wish I was all this. But no, you got to hold on to that appreciation of what you have, and because it's really the key to bringing brilliant things back into your life. You should see the world, Martha, because cutting edge experiences will keep you young, and life has a way of supporting you. Life has a way, of support. I've found that, don't be jealous of what others do. Yeah, like it's just your part of your brain. You know what I mean, Karen? I'm very aware, that if I was to listen to that part of my brain, how unhappy I would be, and how lack of focused I would be, and how I would be a zombie going through life. And I see it everybody, and I think all of you guys on the page and everybody that we are here, that you're posting your work and contributing, is just incredible, and that we're so lucky that we have these little devices that we can just get together and talk and help each other, and we can basically change their worlds with our phones, and it's just so amazing. We are so lucky and so grateful to be able to have that. That people can be in small salons around the world, and they can see some of the best hair colorists in the world, doing their work every day. They can learn. They could never have that opportunity before. They have that now through the community, and they have that opportunity. What around you, slow down and take it all in now and again. It's very difficult. Life moves so. This page takes hairdressing to the next level. Yeah, it does, because if we're not whole people, Rachel, if we can't respect each other, and if we can't respect who we are as people, then what's the point? I mean, there's no point in all this ego stuff, and that the three people get to do the top photo shoot, and that everybody wants to be those three people, and if they're not those three people, they won't be happy. I mean, how is that good for anyone? And I can guarantee you, the three people that get to do the photo shoot, somebody else has come up with the idea anyway, and they're not happy. Nobody's flipping happy. So we have that massive opportunity here to be whole and to be happy in ourselves. You know what I mean? And it's great to travel. It's great to definitely. I mean, even this week, Angela, me going to a forest and staying in Ireland and not hitting the gargle, as you can tell. Look at that. Look at them. I mean, that's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'll have to have a few drinks tonight. We can't have me walking around like that. People think I've got younger. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like me, Lucy. It wouldn't be like me. But that, there's everybody to be jealous of somebody else or to be out there for somebody, there's just no point. But to dream really big, there's no harm in dreaming. There's no harm in wanting the best for you and the best for your family. Everybody deserves it. There's nothing wrong with receiving, but come from a place of appreciation. Come from a place of wholeness, and come from a place of being so happy with what you've achieved, because your dream, the thing you're living today was a dream to who you were when you were younger, and you achieved it. And the dreams you have today, you will achieve in the future 150%. But if you go into them with a feeling of lack, or a feeling of you don't, if you bring those emotions in you will not get there. You will not get there. There's no big time ego masters. But we have a very good, strong team on the page here, and I feel all attitudes come from the top. And I used to be seeing hair shows where just everything was wigs, and it was so disconnected from the salon floor. I'd be going to these shows, and I'd be going like, I'd be bringing nothing back to the salon floor. It was no relevance to the life that we led in a salon. It was aspirational, it was inspirational, but there was no connection. It was so far away from the way people who behind the chair lived, and the people who behind the chair are the real, are the like, without them there isn't an industry, And I just, I don't know. I got to this, and so I had a dream that where people would be able to post their work every day, and they would all be superstars. And you know what? That dream is right now, and that dream is what we're doing. You know what I mean? So that was a dream at one stage, and it was a dream for a lot of people, and that's why we're all here. But do remember when you're younger. I do remember a younger part of me going, I just love to be able to have a house, and for some I never really thought about having kids, but I did have that. I don't know where. I but it was definitely like to have a car and to have a job and to have all those type of things. And I would worked night and day at 8 years of age to have created them. And then you create them and you don't have an appreciation for them because you forget that was your dream. But you can have a dream today and that can be your dream tomorrow. But you must have an appreciation for what you've created, no matter what it is. People dreamt about going and living in different countries and creating different cultures, and then they get there and it can be a little bit challenging. That's life, you know what I mean? That's just the reality of it. But to have an appreciation helps you create momentum and helps you get forward and helps you see the good things in life and attracts things back to it. And love your dream and don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to dream big. It's not jealousy. It's not to have any of that. I want what they have. Have your own dreams and try to live them, you know. I never thought I'd meet someone who put up with me. Yeah, well, me too, Lucy. I mean, me too. I didn't get married till I was younger. I'm so lucky. The French guy in Barcelona, that's you, Shay, and I watched Destroying the Model's Hair, his ego. I'll never forget him. He cut the hair on stage. You remember him with razors? I watched a guy online today who had an absolutely massive ego, you know, and it frightened the life out of me, you know. And I see a lot of I actually saw a few there was a few it was just there on the Passionistas thing. There was a few mentions of influencers of the year, and that there's a few people in that one there for America that scared the living daylights out of me, and I wouldn't like them to influence my life in any way, shape or form. You know, maybe they make a nice video for Instagram, but are they influencers, as in do they influence people's lives in a positive way and help them get better at what they do and make them better hairdressers? I'm afraid not, you know. So it depends on how you see influencers and depends on how you see that type of thing. And for me, that's kind of laughable, a lot of that stuff, you know what I mean? And it's certainly not what we're about here on our page, as I'm sure all you guys agree. You know, everybody gets a chance to post here. Everybody gets a chance to live the dream. Everybody gets a chance to have a laugh, and everybody gets a chance. And we get a chance to talk about real issues behind the chair and real people and real stuff, you know, real stuff. You know, it's real stuff. And we're all together on this, you know, we're all here to help each other, but to have that deep appreciation, and don't be afraid to dream big, because it's been proved that if you win a couple of million bucks and you don't still have a dream, which is like, you see it with some of the greatest, the wealthiest people in the world now. They, you know, like Bill Gates, they sort of they wanted to teach people how to read, or they wanted to learn about immunization, or they wanted to give their money to, he was never seen again. It was dreadful. You know, they go on, you see very wealthy actors and they help out in charities and they do charity work and they do different stuff because they have to have motivation to live their lives and they have to have deep appreciation. So I thought it was important to share that tonight. I thought it's a real call to action, but to be really proud of what you've achieved already and to bring that appreciation so that the next best thing comes into your life, and it will come into your life and it'll be the next best thing. But if you're coming from a place of jealousy, or if you're coming from a place of ego, and you know, it won't trust me, it won't work out for you. You won't be happy. I mean, I ended up doing some really, 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 really amazing gigs that were just very, very unfulfilling and hollow. So sometimes what you're looking for is not what you're looking for at all, and sometimes what you have already, which is like what we have here, can be the best thing ever. You know. So sometimes what you're looking for is just, you know, a hollow dream. You know. So don't be worried about any of that stuff. Just be yourself. I'm on for quite a while this morning today, guys. I booked my kids into this restaurant till 7:45, you know, and I gave them a couple of €100. So I'd imagine that she's like, I hope he's finished up there soon, you know. And I was a bit worried about going live from here. I didn't know if I'd be prepared after a week outside the salon. I didn't know if I'd have my hairdressing head on, and I really probably didn't. I mean, most of the stuff I'm talking about tonight, Sarah, I'm usually on for an hour and a half, you know, but but it can depend on. But I didn't have my hairdressing head on today. But I thought the stuff about routines is really important. Just walk to the bus stop. Just do different things. Walk backwards. Look up at the sky. Just do things differently. It switches on your brain, and the more you switch on your brain, the more you protect. And authenticity. You know me, John. You know. There's so many things that you and me have been at, so many empty experiences that we've seen, and we've looked at each other and gone, you know what I mean? And people want to be those people. They think that's what they want, and they think those people are happy. And John will tell you, trust me, that's the last thing you want. You'll see the real authentic people like Robert Eaton on here, Rob, you'll see the real people who really deserve that opportunity and who really do really well. And, Akin from Hob, they're authentic and they're terrific and they deserve every part of it. But, just remember you're creating your dream. Nobody else is creating your dream. And what you're living was your dream when you were younger. So now create a new one. But create it from a place of love and authenticity and completeness and wholeness. And if I can influence you in any way, it will be in that way. It will. I love Robert too. It will be in that way, and not in some Instagram world. The Instagram world where people keep putting up these black grey heads of hair. And people say, "Oh, I want my hair to look like that." And we're like, "Have you ever seen anyone on the bus with like a perfect black grey hair ever?" No, it's not real. It's not real. So if so don't be drawn into that type of stuff. I hope this helps tonight now, but stay on because Nick Khan. Oh, you're welcome, Kelly, and it's good. You're back with Hob now, aren't you? You're back. Yeah, I love Akin. I have a huge appreciation for him. I loved what, and I'm going to talk about that one day when I'm on here. The black and white photo last week, that was so funny, Karen. But watching Akin work around models and the way he talks them into disconnections and shapes around their faces, it's a beautiful thing. And I'll probably interview him for the page at one stage, and I'll interview him in a different way. The people are always talking to him about haircuts, but I'll talk to him about his energy and his approach around people, because when you watch him work around the model, his frequency, his energy is terrific. Sonia Dove is the same. Jason Gray Mateus has a certain energy. That there are certain frequencies in the way they work around people, and that's what makes them who they are, and that's what makes them authentic. And you know what? That's their frequency. That's what makes them special. And everybody on this thread has their frequency. And if you just get to a place of appreciation, love, and wholeness with it, you'll be amazed at how successful you will be and how happy you will be, and that you'll probably turn down more opportunities than you give. I turn down more things. I say no to more things that I get, fabulous opportunities, but they don't always work for my life or for my family or for my kids or for me. But I get, hiya Pam, how's it going? I'm going to upload the tutorial now. Okay, so Nick's going to upload the tutorial. It's like, so when his tutorial goes on, if there's any questions you want to ask him, don't be afraid to ask him. And if you've any sort of things that you would like highlighted on the page, or any type of haircuts or technique or stuff that we can do, let us know that we can help you. And I know tonight wasn't a lot of hairdressing going on tonight, but next week I'm going to dedicate the first hour to Blondor. Okay, so it's going to be about all the Blondor family. I'm going to get on to my salesman Damien this week to make sure I have everything: the Blondor meshes, the free lights, the Blondor cool, the Blondor regular, the seal and care, the toners, just basically the whole Blondor range. We're going to have a Blondor love in, so we're going to talk about everything to do with Blondor. So anybody on here who can, I'll be on to the wonderful Eddie, I'll be on to Mayu, I'll be on to all different people, and we're going to have a big Blondor. And hopefully something will happen this week that I'll come up with something with a bit of the psychological stuff, But I did actually, just one other thing. I don't get time to read now with kids. You just don't get time to read a book or anything. And again, my great mate, Blondor for president. Yeah, Blondor. A friend of mine, I said, I don't know, hiya Mayu, I was just talking about you because I'm going to do a Blondor hour next week, Mayu, so I'll be looking for, is just any Blondor product that I don't know about. We're going to have a full Blondor love in, next week, so I'll be talking about Blondor Free Lights, Toner, Cool Blondor, the Blondor Mesh, the Sealing Care, you name it, anything to do with Blondor, I'll have all the products because I'll be back in the house and I'll have all the products and we'll just do a big Blondor love in and I'll talk about my love of Blondor. And I'll chuck in some Magma, absolutely, Nicola. Would you like some Magma in there as well? Magma still confuses you. Magma confuses everybody, which I don't understand. But low volumes, that's what I will say. Okay, I'll throw in a bit of Magma as well. Maybe we'll do Magma as well. Blondor nearly deserves an air, and it's such a special product. It's such a special range. It's, it's the nobody does blondes like Wella, do they? I mean, Wella blondes, nobody does the Blondor cream. Forget about it. There's so much, the granules. Yeah, look at Karen. Karen, you could come up and do it with me. Do you know what I mean? And we'll do a bit of Magma as well, Suzanne. But a friend of mine, I said, I don't have time to read a book. And he said, Andrew, you've got to read this just while you're away. He said, it's 20 pages. You can read 20 pages. And I said, yeah, okay, it's 20 pages. I can read 20 pages. And the book is called Feeling is the Secret. Okay? Feeling is the Secret. And I read it. Hiya, Debs. How's it going? Hope the salon's still going strong. I hope you haven't taken a unit out or anything at this stage. You probably have. Have you? You and Fred were in there. Nothing left, is there? But I'll be back next week. Feeling is the Secret is the name of the book. It's 20 pages long. It's by Neville Goddard. And babes, the rock is on. The rock is on. Feeling is the Secret, Neville Goddard. It's 20 pages long. It will blow your mind. It'll blow your mind, especially if you like the stuff we were talking about tonight. Feeling is the Secret, Neville Goddard. 20 pages long. It goes into some stuff about prayer and stuff like that. And I'm not, I don't believe that you have to get really into all that type of stuff. You kept the ship afloat, Debs. I'd be lost without you. I'd be lost without you. See this girl here, guys. See that her name, Deborah Poole. We are working together longer than some of you people have been born, okay? And there's nothing that we don't talk about. It's like Oprah, you know what I mean? It's like Oprah, me and her, and it's too funny, So I'll have to go live one day with Deborah. Nobody can tint hair like Deborah. Nobody can tint her. Deborah can tint Anton, okay? See, people say, I don't get coverage. You need to talk to the Deborah Poole there. You know what I mean? Don't get coverage. She uses about 4 buckets of colour. I lose money on her every time she does a tint. And they leave 100% coverage, okay? She can tint Anton, that girl. She is a tinter. So someday we'll get her on to do a thing about tints, you know what I mean? And she's terribly funny. Debs, I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling okay. Been thinking about you a lot this week. And, hope you're feeling good. So if you want something to rock your head, Feeling is the Secret, Neville Goddard. It's 20 pages. It's quite deep, but it's a good 20 pages. Give it a shot. Listen, Debs, I'll just see you next week. Guys, thanks for a brilliant live. I know it wasn't an awful lot of hairdressing, but that's because I've been on my hauls and I've been thinking about kids all week and stuff like that. You're welcome, babes. You're welcome. Enjoy the week. Know that next week is going to be all things Blondor. So if you have any questions to do with Blondor, the cream, the granules, the powder, the Sealing Care, the Free Lights, the Cool, anything to do with Blondor, get your questions ready next week. We're going to have a Blondor love-in, okay? And Karen, great to see you. And Laurie, I hope it went well. Great to talk to everybody tonight. Stay on and watch Nick's little tutorial video and ask him any questions and give him lots of love, and he'll do these for you every week. And you know what? That'll be brilliant. Stage 4 this week, Rachel. You'll fly. Martha, thanks again. Glad I could help. And remember, routines are not good for you as much as you enjoy them. They're not good for you unless you've got big jobs coming up. Okay, a deep appreciation, like we spoke about tonight. Deep appreciation for all you guys. for coming online on a Sunday and spending this time with me, because I would hate to do it alone. And deep appreciation for everybody who puts up their pictures, who gives somebody a support, who just asks nice questions, who helps each other, who shares their wins, who shares their love, who shares their successes and helps somebody else be successful. You're all absolute top drawer people. Thanks again. I'll talk to you soon. And God bless. Good night from Father Don and from the... Actually, Karen, before you go, I'll just turn this round, Karen. If you're still on, I'll turn this round. Right, Karen. So this, you were asking me about the apartment. So this is it here. It's 3 beds. So there's a forest right out. There's forest right out there. Bedrooms are there. Bedrooms are there. Bedrooms are there. And then right out there, is where all the forest is, and then all the trees are. Yeah, you can see it. It's quite nice. Now, it wasn't cheap. I won't lie to you. It wasn't cheap, but it was lovely. As you can see, it was lovely. It was really worth it. You know, Jesus, that's bright. I must have hit a button there. I think I hit something here. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Christ. Technology. You know, yeah, no, it's lovely, and particularly the forest. And the great thing is there's no cars. No cars. As much as I've missed my car, I just like sometimes sitting in my car. There's no cars, so it's great with the kids. They can cycle off, and I really enjoyed the morning cycles. That was that for me. That and the pottery. Actually, I'll take a picture of the pottery, Karen, and I'll put it up on the page. Okay, I'll get them all together, and I'll get the pottery, and you can see the kids' mental painting. But you'll probably see a bit of me in a few of them. Joanne, great to see you on. God bless. Thanks again, everybody. I hope you have a lovely, lovely evening, and check out Nick's little tutorial. Okay, God bless. See you later. See you later. See you next week for the Blonde Door Love In and some other stuff. Okay, the Blonde Door Love In. Yeah, it's really quiet. It's not a sound. Not a sound. It's just me belching. That's about it. Okay, babes. See you later, guys. Thanks again. Remember, deep appreciation. Love yous all.